Hey, what is up guys? How are you guys doing? It has been a little while since I made a video. I took a little break to play Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and I've got to say, I absolutely love the game. I mean, it's such a long game, it took me quite a number of weeks to complete, but I've got to say, it was such an improvement over the remake. And you know, it's probably one of the best Final Fantasy games that I've ever played. What about you guys? What did you think of Rebirth? Let me know in the comments below. But anyhow guys, today we are taking a look at the SGD Studio half-scale Tifa Lockhart silicone figure. So yeah, this is pretty much going to be the final update on this figure, since the figure is released. And I think some of you guys actually have the figure in hand, which is really great to see. I mean, I've covered this figure for quite a number of months now, all the way from the initial promotional photos, to all the updates, and now to the final release. So you know, it's been quite a journey, and I'm just so happy to finally see the figure released. So I've got to tell you guys, I did not pick up this figure, I just couldn't justify the price points. But I've got to say, I think the figure turned out really well, and you know, I think if you guys picked up this figure, I think you're going to be very happy with it, because it actually turned out very, very nice. So yeah, let's go right ahead and take a look at what we have here. So as you can see, the figure is being unboxed, and I love the design of the packaging. It's very simple, but you know, it looks very professional. So I've got no complaints with the packaging, I think it looks great. And I also love the window display on the styrofoam. This way you can keep the figure inside the packaging if you want, and you don't have to take it out of the box. But I'm pretty sure that 99% of you guys are going to open up this figure. But yeah, the option is there in case you guys want to keep it inside the box. And yeah, here's how it looks, fresh inside the packaging. I've got no idea why the figure is not wearing the skirt piece. But anyhow, this is how it looks straight out of the box. But anyhow, here's the figure out of the packaging, and let's take a look at how we assemble the figure onto the display base. I still don't think this is a very good way to display the figure. I mean, there's a hole on the back of the shirt piece, and a hole on the back of the figure, which I have never seen this on any other figure out there, so I just don't know why they decided to do this. I think it does ruin the figure to some extent, and I wish that they rather have just had no hole on the figure or the clothing, and just had a standard display stand, almost like a hot toy stand that goes between the legs. I think that would have worked so much better. But anyhow, this is how the figure stands on this display base. I mean, it does look pretty good. But anyhow, here's a look at how we insert the skirt onto the actual figure. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It's pretty much what you would expect. You have to fit it onto the figure, almost like a real piece of clothing. And then here we have the stockings or the tights for the legs. So one thing which I'm a bit afraid about is that the clothing will stain the body. As you guys know, sometimes dark clothing will stain the body of the figure, so you know, just be super careful displaying the figure with all these dark pieces of clothing. I will almost recommend washing the clothing first with some hot water before you display it onto the figure, to minimize any risks of staining the body. And here we have the black tank top, which fits underneath the white tank top. Once again, just be careful of the staining. I mean, it's a very expensive figure, and you do not want to damage this piece. I've got to say, the paint job on the skin is super amazing. I mean, it looks pretty realistic. I'm pretty much blown away by how realistic the skin looks. It's pretty crazy. And yeah, this is a pretty interesting way at how you assemble the little bracelets on the wrist. So it seems like you need to cut a piece of plastic which fits over the hand, and then you slide the bracelet and the gauntlet piece over this piece of plastic. I guess just to avoid damaging the figure. But yeah, I've never seen that technique before. I just thought it was, you know, a pretty interesting way to, you know, assemble the figure. I wonder if this figure is going to come with this piece of plastic. It most likely does if they're showing it in the video. But yeah, here we have the glove as well. It's crazy how realistic the fingers are. I mean, they're individually articulated, and the paint job around the knuckle area is just so realistic. Okay, and so I guess this is how you move the eyes. I totally forgot that the figure came with movable eyes. It's such a cool feature, but I've got to say, it looks pretty difficult to, you know, to move the eyes on this figure. I don't know why they made it so complicated. They could have made it a bit similar to, you know, how Hot Toys figures move their eyes. But for this figure, it seems like you have to move the eyes with a little pin which comes with the figure. You know, I don't really like this method. I feel like it could damage the figure. I mean, it looks like you can definitely scrape the eyes, and it seems like you could even rip the silicone around the eyes if you're not careful. In my opinion, I would just recommend moving the eyes once in the desired position and just not moving them ever again. At least that's what I would do if I had this figure, because it's just not worth it in my opinion. So I would just say, move the eyes as little as possible. And it seems like the figure comes with some type of oil or liquid to, you know, help the eyeball move inside the eye socket. Sounds a little bit crazy, but you know, I think it's a good touch that they included this. Okay, so here's how you insert the headpiece and fix the hair on the figure. Once again, pretty straightforward. I mean, I really don't know why they decided to release these videos. It's very, self-explanatory and very straightforward. Wow, I would not want to risk rolling the hair around on the floor like that. I don't know what they were smoking when they made this video, but yeah, I guess this is how you fix the hairpiece if it gets messy somehow. Once again, you just gotta brush the hair, you gotta, spray it with some water, then you just pretty much comb it into place and make sure it's nice and tidy, and then attach on the clip piece, just to make it all sit in place. So I've got to say, the head sculpt of the figure is actually pretty nice. I think it's turned out a lot better than I expected, and I think there is some nice resemblance compared to how Tifa looked in the game. So yeah, overall I would say the head sculpt is pretty decent. Okay, so here's a quick demo on how you move the figure, which I think is super important because, once again, this is a very expensive figure. I mean, it's $1,000. I mean, if this figure breaks, it's pretty much going to be impossible to fix because it's encased inside a silicone body. I mean, as long as you use some common sense and don't have the figure displayed in some crazy poses, I think the figure will be fine. Let me know what you guys think of this figure in the comments below, and let me know how many of you guys actually picked up this figure. If you managed to get one of these figures, then you're super lucky because this is a very rare piece. I think it was only limited to like 2,000 pieces worldwide, maybe less. And yeah, it doesn't seem like they're going to be making any more figures of this Tifa anytime soon. And yeah, it seems to be a pretty sought after figure, which I think is going to be pretty rare in the future. So yeah, congrats to all you guys who actually picked up this figure. Anyhow guys, I'm gonna have a lot more videos on the way now that I've finished Rebirth, finally. So yeah, I hope you guys will stay tuned for a lot more videos on upcoming 1/4 scale resin statues. I hope you guys are doing good out there. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day, take care, stay safe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Alright, take it easy guys.